quick digestible recap of the top business school news sponsored by Center Court, our virtual admission events. I'm your host, Christy Blyzeffer, and I'll be highlighting the most important P&Q stories you might have missed. So let's get to it. Number 1, business school deans coming and going. The WP Carey School of Business at Arizona State has a new dean with big plans. Ohad Kadan took the reins in July after spending 20 years as a finance professor at the Olin Business School at Washington University in St. Louis. Now he wants to revisit Carey's long-term vision to ask the big questions. What do we want to become? What's our identity? What's our North Star? He tells Poets and Quants. Meanwhile, Villanova School of Business announced that the first female dean in history will step down at the end of this academic year. Joyce E.A. Russell, who has been at the school for 7 years, plans to stay at Villanova as a professor. You can find our full interview with Dean Kadan and Villanova's announcement on Dean Russell in our news tab. Number 2, MBAs to watch, class of 2022. This year, we feature 131 class of 2022 profiles for our popular series, MBAs to watch. We believe these candidates, graduating from 70 of the top business schools from around the world, are primed to change the industries they will enter, and maybe even the towns and countries in which they will live. Before embarking on their MBA journey, this year's class were coaches, Olympic divers, government leaders, mentors, startup founders, and more. You can read the full feature now on our homepage. Number 3, Wharton tops U.S. News's 2023 undergrad B-School ranking. Over on our sister site, Poets and Quants for Undergrads, the big news comes as little surprise. Wharton again tops U.S. News's latest ranking for the top undergraduate business schools in the country. In fact, Wharton has topped the ranking for most of the last decade. While the ranking is essentially a popularity contest, since it's based solely on what the peer schools think of you, it's one of the few rankings for undergraduate programs, so it is watched by schools and school seekers alike. Rounding out the top 4 are the big brand programs of MIT Sloan School of Management and UC Berkeley Haas School of Business, tied for 2nd, University of Michigan Ross School of Business in 4th, and Carnegie Mellon's Tepper School of Business and NYU Stern, tied for 5th. Number 4, our weekly roundup of news you can use. No matter where you are in your MBA journey, we bring several helpful stories to you this week. First up, we've got the inside scoop from Yale's admission gatekeepers on what they are looking for in a candidate. One word: authenticity. Don't try and predict what we're looking for because we're looking for so many different things. Stick to who you are, says the assistant dean for our admissions. You can find the full story in our news roundup in our MBA news tab. Next, for those looking for the right programs, we have the latest MBA class profile from Duke Fuqua. It, like other elite programs, saw a downturn in domestic apps this year, but filled the gap with internationals. Dartmouth Tuck also released its 2024 profile, hitting another record GMAT for the school. You can find other class profiles from the top business schools in our admissions tab. Finally, if you're coming to an MBA from engineering or tech, don't miss this story from Fortuna Admissions. MBA application tips for engineers and tech candidates. This article highlights the essentials on positioning your application to stand out in a sea of excellence. The story is up now on our homepage. And that's it for this week's must-reads recap. I also want to alert all the school seekers out there to Center Court's upcoming MBA Festival events. Our next series, The MBA in Your Career, is happening October 4th and 5th, and you can register for free on our events tab. For those interested in online MBAs, our next backstage event is November 15th and 16th. Register now for free. Again, I'm Christy Blyzeffer, and you can join me here next week for a recap of what's important in the world of business education. Thanks for listening, and as always, stay informed.